The beeping wouldn't stop. Tyler Hammond stood frozen in the middle of the pediatric cardiac wing at Memorial Children's Hospital, his hands still gripping the yellow mop handle while a dozen people in expensive suits stared at him like he'd just committed murder. The little girl on the hospital bed was breathing again, her chest rising and falling in steady rhythm, but nobody seemed to care about that. They cared that his hands had been on her, that he'd touched the daughter of Christine Waverly. Two security guards were already moving toward him. Tyler's vision tunneled. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. Not again. I need you to step away from the child. The taller guard's voice cut through the alarm still shrieking from the cardiac monitor. Someone had finally silenced the flat-line tone, but the damage was done. Everyone had seen him lean over the bed. Everyone had seen his hands on the girl's sternum, his mouth near hers during rescue breaths. She stopped breathing. Tyler's voice came out hoarse. His knees felt weak. The monitor went flat. I'm CPR certified. She wasn't breathing. Security, get him out of here. The woman's voice was ice. Christine Waverly stood near the window, her tailored black suit perfect despite the chaos, her phone already at her ear. I want him removed from this floor. Now. And I want to know how a janitor has unsupervised access to pediatric patients. Tyler looked at the little girl. 8 years old maybe. Dark curls spread across the pillow. Her eyes were open now, confused and frightened. The nurse who'd been at the supply closet when it happened was checking her vitals, adjusting the foreline. She wouldn't look at him. I work here. I've worked here for 3 years. Tyler's hand shook as he released the mop handle. It clattered against the bucket, slushing dainty water across the pristine floor he'd just cleaned. I heard the alarm. I came in and she wasn't breathing. The nurse was gone. I did what I was trained to do. You put your hands on my daughter. Christine Waverly's eyes were the coldest thing Tyler had ever seen. Colder than the February morning he'd buried his wife. Colder than the social worker's expression when she'd suggested he might not be equipped to raise Lily alone. Without permission. Without medical supervision. You could have killed her. I saved her. The words came out before Tyler could stop them. Wrong thing to say. Always the wrong thing to say. His supervisor's lessons echoed in his head. Keep your eyes down. Keep your mouth shut. Be invisible. He'd forgotten the most important rule of being a janitor in a place like this. You weren't supposed to be human. You were supposed to be furniture. The younger security guard grabbed his arm. Let's go, buddy. Don't make this harder. Tyler went. He always went. What choice did he have? As they led him toward the elevator, he caught a glimpse of Christine Waverly typing rapidly on her phone, her face set in lines of fury and something else. Fear maybe. Or disgust. It didn't matter. He knew that look. He'd seen it before on other faces in other places where he didn't belong. The elevator doors closed on the sound of the little girl crying. 3 hours later, Tyler sat in the hospital security office while they made copies of his employee badge and took a statement he knew nobody would believe. The head of security, a tired man named Rodriguez who'd always nodded at Tyler in the hallways, couldn't meet his eyes. Look, Hammond, I believe you. I do. But Mrs. Waverly is on the board. She donated the entire cardiac wing. Her daughter's been sick for 2 years. This hospital exists because of her money. Rodriguez slid the papers across the desk. You're suspended pending investigation. We'll call you. I have a daughter. Tyler's voice cracked. I can't afford to miss work. I need this job. Should have thought about that before you touched a patient. Tyler walked out into the parking lot where his 12-year-old Honda waited, the check engine light glowing like a second sun. His phone buzzed. A text from Lily's school, parent conference requested. Concerns about recent absences and incomplete homework. He sat in the driver's seat, the vinyl cold through his thin work pants, and let his head fall against the steering wheel. The smell of industrial cleaner clung to his skin. His shoulders ached from 4 hours of mopping floors before everything went wrong. 32 years old, and this was his life. Cleaning up after people who wouldn't even look at him. Raising a 6-year-old daughter on minimum wage and prayer. And now this. His phone buzzed again. This time a call. Unknown number. Mr. Hammond. A woman's voice, professional and clipped. This is Jennifer Chen from Memorial Hospital Human Resources. We need you to come in tomorrow morning for formal review. 9 a.m. Don't be late. What's this about? Mrs. Waverly has filed a formal complaint. There are also questions about your background check. Some irregularities we need to discuss. The line went dead. Tyler sat in the parking lot as the sun set and the temperature dropped. Other workers filed past on their way home. Nurses, doctors, people with real jobs and real lives. Nobody looked at his car. Nobody saw him. He was invisible again. Except now, being invisible wouldn't protect him. What he didn't know was that 60 floors above the city, in a penthouse office overlooking the harbor, Christine Waverly was watching security footage for the 5th time. The angle was clear. Her daughter's monitor flatlining. The nurse at the supply closet, her back turned. And then Tyler Hammond, running into the room with his mop still in hand, dropping everything, checking for breathing, starting compressions with textbook precision. 30 compressions. 2 breaths. 30 compressions. 2 breaths. Until Emma's chest heaved and she gasped back to life. Christine's hand trembled as she paused the video. The little girl who'd been dead for 90 seconds was asleep 3 floors below, her heartbeat steady on the monitors. And the man who'd saved her was suspended, his life in ruins, because Christine Waverly had been too terrified to think clearly, too used to control, too quick to assume the worst about someone who wore a janitor's uniform. She picked up her phone, put it down, picked it up again. What was his name again? Tyler Hammond, 32 years old, single father, clean record except for dismissed trespassing charge from 7 years ago. No medical training except a standard CPR certification. He worked night shifts to be home with his daughter during the day. He made $12 an hour. Christine closed her eyes. Her daughter was alive because this man had broken protocol, had risked his job, had done what her entire team of expensive specialists hadn't been there to do. And she destroyed him for it. The guilt hit like a physical blow. But guilt didn't pay back ruined lives. Guilt didn't undo the complaint she'd filed or the investigation she'd demanded. Guilt was useless. She needed information. She needed to know who Tyler Hammond really was. And she needed to know what happened next. Because something in his eyes when they'd led him away haunted her. Not anger. Not resentment. Just exhaustion. The kind of exhaustion that came from carrying too much for too long. Christine made a call to her head of security, then another to her private investigator. By morning, she'd know everything about Tyler Hammond. His history, his struggles, his secrets, and then she'd decide what to do about the man who'd saved her daughter's life while she'd been too blind to see it. Down in the parking lot, Tyler finally started his car. The engine coughed twice before catching. He had $43 in his checking account. Rent was due in 6 days. Lily needed new shoes. The medical bills from his wife's cancer were still crushing him 3 years later. He drove home through streets that blurred together, past restaurants he'd never afford to enter, past houses with lights in every window. When he pulled into the parking lot of his apartment complex, Mrs. Patterson from next door was waiting on the stairs with Lily. "Daddy." Lily ran to him, her backpack bouncing. 6 years old with her mother's dark hair and her mother's fearless smile. The only good thing Tyler had left in the world. "Mrs. Patterson says you're late." "We waited and waited." "I'm sorry, baby." Tyler lifted her, even though his back screamed in protest. She was getting too big to carry, but he needed to hold her. Work ran long. Mrs. Patterson's expression was sympathetic but firm. "Tyler, I can't keep doing this. I have my own grandkids to watch. You need reliable childcare." "I know. I'm sorry. It won't happen again." But they both knew it would. Because this was Tyler's life. Scrambling. Apologizing. Failing. One emergency away from losing everything. He carried Lily up the stairs to their 2-bedroom apartment. The heat was turned low to save money. The refrigerator hummed with a sound that meant it wouldn't last much longer. Lily's homework was spread across the kitchen table next to a stack of medical bills Tyler couldn't look at. "Can we have mac and cheese?" Lily asked. "Sure, baby." Tyler made dinner while Lily chatted about her day. A field trip she couldn't go on because it cost $20. A friend's birthday party at a place called Jump Zone that Lily described like it was Disneyland. She didn't ask why they couldn't afford these things. She was learning not to ask. After dinner, after bath time, After 3 stories and a dozen kisses, Tyler tucked Lily into bed. Her room was barely big enough for the twin mattress and the dresser they'd bought at Goodwill. But she decorated it with drawings from school. Pictures of flowers and houses and families. In every picture, 3 people held hands. Mommy, Daddy, and Lily. Daddy. Lily's voice was sleepy. Are you sad? No, baby. Why? You look sad, like when you look at Mommy's picture. Tyler's throat closed. I'm just tired. Go to sleep. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, Lily. More than anything. He closed her door and stood in the dark hallway, listening to her breathe. Then he went to the kitchen and opened his laptop, the screen flickering to life. The email was already there. Sent an hour ago. Subject, suspension notice. Effective immediately. Tyler read it twice. Then he closed the laptop and sat at the kitchen table with his head in his hands. The apartment was silent except for the hum of the dying refrigerator and the distant sound of traffic. Tomorrow he'd have to go to that meeting. Tomorrow he'd have to defend himself against accusations he didn't fully understand. Tomorrow he'd have to figure out how to pay rent without a job. But tonight, he just sat in the dark and wondered how much more he could take before something inside him broke completely. He didn't know that his life was about to change. He didn't know that Christine Waverly was already setting things in motion. He didn't know that saving one little girl would unravel everything and rebuild it into something he'd never imagined. All he knew was that he was tired. So tired. And alone. So very alone. The city lights glowed through the window. Somewhere out there, people were living lives that made sense. Lives where doing the right thing didn't get you punished. Lives where being poor wasn't a crime. Tyler closed his eyes and tried to remember what hope felt like. He couldn't. Tyler Hammond hadn't always been invisible. 3 years and 4 months ago, he'd been a licensed EMT with a steady job and a wife who made him laugh and a daughter who was still young enough to believe her daddy could fix anything. They live in a small house in a decent neighborhood. Nothing fancy. But theirs. Ashley worked part-time at a veterinary clinic. Tyler pulled double shifts on the ambulance. They had date nights and savings account and plans. And then Ashley found the lump. The details blurred together now. Oncologist appointments. Treatment options. Insurance denials. The hospital social worker's expression when she explained that their coverage had a lifetime maximum and they'd hit it. Tyler trying to work while Ashley got sicker. The smell of the chemo ward. The sounds of monitors. The way Lily learned to be quiet in hospitals. Ashley died on a Tuesday morning while Tyler was at work. He'd been loading a heart attack patient into the ambulance when his phone rang. By the time he got to the hospital, she was gone. Lily was 3 years old. She asked for mommy every day for 6 months. The medical bills were catastrophic. Even with insurance, they owed hundreds of thousands. The house went into foreclosure. Tyler sold everything that wasn't essential. The debt collectors called constantly. His credit tanked. He couldn't work as an EMT in a mall because the trauma was too raw. Every patient reminded him of Ashley. Every emergency felt personal. So he took the only job that would hire someone with no recent work history and terrible credit. Night janitor at Memorial Children's Hospital. $12 an hour. No benefits. But it was something. And the hospital had free childcare during training sessions, which meant he could bring Lily sometimes. They moved into the apartment complex on Roosevelt Street. 2 bedrooms, $800 a month, in a neighborhood where gunshots weren't uncommon but rent was affordable. Mrs. Patterson next door watched Lily for cheap because she felt sorry for them. Tyler worked nights, slept 4 hours, took care of Lily during the day, slept another 2 hours, and went back to work. It was survival, not living, just survival. And now even that was falling apart. The morning after his suspension, Tyler woke at 6 a.m. to Lily jumping on his bed. She was already dressed for school, her hair in the lopsided ponytail that was the best Tyler could manage. Daddy, I'm hungry. Tyler dragged himself up. His body ached from yesterday's shift and from sleeping on the couch because Lily had crawled into his bed with nightmares at 2 a.m. and he didn't have the heart to move her. He made breakfast. Cereal and milk that was 2 days from expiring. Lily ate while watching cartoons on the ancient television Tyler had bought for $40. I have that conference with your teacher today, Tyler said. At 10. Mrs. Patterson will pick you up after school. Why can't you pick me up? I have to go to a meeting at my work. Are you in trouble? Kids always knew. Tyler forced a smile. No, baby. Just boring adult stuff. He dropped Lily at school and watched her run toward the building, her backpack too big for her small frame. Then he drove to the hospital for his 9 a.m. meeting, his stomach churning. Jennifer from Human Resources was waiting in a conference room with two other people Tyler didn't recognize. A man in a suit, a woman with a legal pad. The air felt heavy with judgment. Mr. Hammond, thank you for coming. Jennifer's voice was cold, professional, the kind of cold that meant decisions had already been made. We need to discuss the incident involving Mrs. Waverly's daughter and some concerns about your employment history. What concerns? The man in the suit leaned forward. Your background check shows a trespassing charge from 7 years ago. You stated on your application that you had no criminal record. That charge was dismissed. My wife was sick. I needed to get into a pharmaceutical office after hours to get emergency medication. They dropped the charges when they realized what happened. You broke into a medical facility. I knocked on the door until someone came. It wasn't breaking in, and it was dismissed. Jennifer consulted her notes. There's also the matter of yesterday. You physically interacted with a patient without authorization. You're not medical staff. Hospital policy clearly states that housekeeping personnel are not to engage in patient care under any circumstances. She was dying. Tyler's voice rose despite his efforts to stay calm. The monitor flatlined. The nurse was gone. What was I supposed to do? Watch her die while I looked for help. You were supposed to hit the emergency call button and wait for medical staff. There wasn't time. The woman with the legal pad spoke up. Mrs. Waverly believes you may have caused her daughter's cardiac event. She's requesting a full investigation into whether you had prior access to her daughter's room, whether you tampered with any equipment, and whether this was a deliberate attempt to harm her child. The room tilted. Tyler gripped the edge of the table. Are you accusing me of trying to kill a little girl? We're saying that Mrs. Waverly has concerns. And given your history of unauthorized access to medical facilities, we have to take those concerns seriously. This is insane. Tyler stood up. The chair scraped against the floor. I saved her life. There's security footage. You can see exactly what happened. The footage shows you entering the room and putting your hands on the patient. It doesn't show what happened before the monitor alarm went off. I was mopping the hallway. Ask anyone. We have. Your supervisor says you were supposed to be on the 3rd floor at that time. You were on the 6th floor. Why? Tyler's mind raced. I finished 3rd floor early. I was starting on the 6th floor rotation. That's normal. We move between floors all the time. Convenient that you were right outside Emma Waverly's room when she went into distress. This wasn't an investigation. It was a prosecution. Tyler could see it in their faces. They'd already decided. He was guilty of being poor, of being in the wrong place, of having the audacity to touch someone important. I didn't do anything wrong. Tyler's voice shook. I did CPR exactly like I was trained. I saved that little girl's life. And now you're treating me like a criminal because her mother is rich and I'm not. Jennifer's expression didn't change. Mr. Hammond, we're terminating your employment effective immediately. You'll receive your final paycheck by mail. Please surrender your badge and any hospital property. You're firing me. We're ending your employment due to policy violations and concerns about patient safety. Based on what? A rich woman's paranoia. The man in the suit stood. Based on your unauthorized contact with a patient, your history of accessing medical facilities without permission, and the serious questions raised by Mrs. Waverly regarding the circumstances of her daughter's medical event. If you contest this termination, we'll be forced to report the incident to local authorities for criminal investigation. The threat was clear. Leave quietly or face charges. Tyler thought about Lily, about the apartment they couldn't afford without his income, about the fact that he had no savings, no backup plan, no safety net. He thought about Ashley and what she would say if she knew he was about to be branded a child abuser because he'd done the right thing. He put his badge on the table. I need a recommendation for my next job. That's not possible given the circumstances. Then what am I supposed to do? Nobody answered. Tyler walked out of the hospital for the last time. The morning was cold. His car wouldn't start. He sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes trying the ignition before it finally caught. By then he was late for Lily's parent conference. The elementary school was 15 minutes away in good traffic. Tyler made it in 12, parking in a no-parking zone because he didn't have time to find a legal spot. Lily's teacher, Mrs. Morrison, was waiting in a classroom decorated with colorful posters and student artwork. "Mr. Hammond, thank you for coming. Please sit." Tyler sat in a chair designed for a 6-year-old. His knees hit the desk. "I'm concerned about Lily." Mrs. Morrison pulled out a folder thick with papers. "She's missed 8 days of school this semester. She's falling behind in reading. Her homework is frequently incomplete, and she's been falling asleep in class. I'm doing my best." Tyler's voice came out defensive. "It's just me. Her mom died. I work nights. Sometimes childcare falls through. I understand your situation is difficult, but Lily needs stability. She needs adequate sleep and nutrition. She needs help with her schoolwork." Mrs. Morrison's expression softened. "I'm not trying to judge you. I'm trying to help. But if things don't improve, I'm required to file a report with Child Services." The words landed like a punch. "You take my daughter away because I'm struggling." Nobody wants that. But Lily deserves a safe, stable environment. If you can't provide that, there are resources available. Foster care, assistance programs. She has a stable environment. She has me. Does she? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're barely holding on. Tyler stood up. "I just lost my job. I'll figure something out. I always do. For Lily's sake, I hope so." Tyler left without another word. He picked up Lily from Mrs. Patterson's apartment that afternoon and held her too tight, breathing in the smell of her strawberry shampoo while she squirmed and laughed. "Daddy, you're crushing me." "Sorry, baby." They made dinner together. Grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup from a can. Lily talked about her day. A boy who'd shared his crayons with her. A story the teacher read about a princess and a dragon. She didn't ask about Tyler's day. She'd learned not to ask. After dinner, Tyler's phone rang. Unknown number again. "Mr. Hammond." A man's voice this time. Professional. Cold. "This is Detective Ramirez with the City Police Department. We've received a complaint regarding an incident at Memorial Children's Hospital. We need you to come in for questioning." Tyler's blood ran cold. "About what?" "Just come in tomorrow. 10 a.m. Downtown station. Don't make us come get you." The line went dead. That night, Tyler couldn't sleep. He lay on the couch staring at the ceiling while Lily slept in his bed, her stuffed rabbit clutched under her chin. The walls felt like they were closing in. No job. Police investigation. Threat of losing Lily. Medical debt still crushing him. Car barely running. Rent due in 4 days. He thought about Ashley. About the way she used to tell him everything would be okay even when they both knew it wouldn't. About the promises he'd made at her funeral to take care of Lily no matter what. He was failing. At everything. And he didn't know how to stop the fall. Around 3 a.m., Tyler got up and opened his laptop. He searched for jobs. Anything. Gas stations. Warehouses. Fast food. Most required background checks he wouldn't pass once word got out about the hospital incident. Some paid less than what he'd been making. None would hire him quickly enough to make rent. He searched for apartments. Everything cheaper than his current place was in neighborhoods he wouldn't risk bringing Lily to. Everything safe was out of his price range. He searched for lawyers. Free consultations. Pro bono representation. But defending himself required time and energy he didn't have. And even if he won, even if he proved he'd done nothing wrong, his name was ruined. Who would hire a janitor accused of harming a child? Tyler closed the laptop and put his head in his hands. The apartment was silent except for the sound of Lily breathing in the next room. That sound was the only thing keeping him from walking out the door and never coming back. He thought about doing it. Just leaving. Lily would be better off without him. The system would find her a good home. People who could afford to take care of her properly. People who didn't drag her down. But he couldn't. He'd promised Ashley. And more than that, he loved his daughter more than his own life. So he stayed. And he tried to figure out how to survive one more day. What Tyler didn't know was that his name was already spreading through the city's underground network of hospital employees and medical staff. The janitor who'd assaulted the Waverly girl. The creep who'd put his hands on a sick child. The story grew with each retelling. By morning, Tyler Hammond would be unemployable in any medical facility in the state. And somewhere in a penthouse office, Christine Waverly was reading a private investigator's report that made her stomach turn. The truth about Tyler Hammond. His dead wife. His medical debt. His daughter. His desperate, daily struggle just to survive. She'd destroyed him. And she'd done it because she was scared and powerful and used to controlling everything. The guilt was eating her alive. But Christine Waverly didn't do guilt. She did action. And tomorrow morning, she'd start fixing this. Even if Tyler Hammond never forgave her. Even if it cost her reputation and money and the carefully constructed walls she'd built around her life. She owed him. And she always paid her debts. Christine Waverly hadn't slept in 36 hours. Emma was stable. The doctors said the cardiac event had been a fluke, a side effect of her latest medication adjustment. Nothing to do with the janitor who'd performed CPR. But Christine couldn't stop watching the security footage. Couldn't stop seeing Tyler Hammond drop everything and run. Couldn't stop hearing his voice when the guards grabbed him. She stopped breathing. I did what I was trained to do. The private investigator's report sat on her desk. 47 pages documenting every detail of Tyler Hammond's life for the past decade. High school valedictorian. EMT certification at 21. Married at 24. Wife diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer at 28. Medical bankruptcy. Foreclosure. Wife's death. Career change. Current employment status. Terminated. Christine had done that. Terminated. She'd made one phone call and destroyed a man who'd saved her daughter's life. The guilt was physically painful, like something alive in her chest, clawing its way out. She picked up her phone, put it down. She wasn't ready to call him yet. First, she needed to know more, needed to understand exactly how bad things were. Christine pulled up Hammond's financial records. The PI had been thorough. Bank statements, credit reports, medical bills. The numbers made her feel sick. $470,000 in debt. Most of it from his wife's cancer treatment. The rest from trying to keep their house. His checking account balance was $37. Savings, 0. Credit cards, maxed out. Rent, $800 a month, due in 3 days. There was a note at the bottom of the page. Subject is a 6-year-old daughter, Lily Hammond. Currently enrolled in public school. Mother deceased. No other family. Child Protection Services contacted the subject's home 3 times in the past year regarding concerns about childcare and school attendance. No removal action taken. Christine closed the file. She stood and walked to her office window. The city spread out below her. 60 floors up, the people on the streets looked like ants. From here, everything seemed manageable, controllable. But Tyler Hammond's life wasn't manageable. It was a disaster. And she'd just made it worse. Her assistant knocked on the door. Mrs. Waverly, your 10 o'clock is here. Cancel it. It's the board meeting. The quarterly review. Cancel it. Christine sat back down and opened her laptop. She pulled up the hospital's personnel files. Found Tyler Hammond's employment record. 3 years of perfect attendance. 0 complaints. Supervisor notes, reliable. Hardworking. Goes above and beyond. Volunteers for extra shifts. Gets along with staff. The termination report told a different story. Policy violation. Unauthorized patient contact. Concerns regarding criminal history and mental fitness. Christine had signed off on that report. She'd been in the room when they drafted it. She'd personally called the police to request an investigation. She was a monster. Her phone buzzed. A text from the hospital's head of security. You asked for updates on the Hammond situation. Police interviewed him this morning. No charges filed, but they're keeping the case open pending further investigation. He asked for his personnel file. We denied the request. Christine stated the message. Then she made a decision. She called her driver. I need to go somewhere. Now. 30 minutes later, Christine Waverly stood in the parking lot of a rundown apartment complex on Roosevelt Street, wearing a black coat that cost more than Tyler Hammond made in 3 months. The building was 4 stories of beige concrete and rusty balconies. The parking lot was full of old cars with dents and missing hubcaps. A group of kids played basketball on a cracked court. This was where Tyler Hammond lived with his daughter. Christine checked the address. Building C, Unit 2F. She climbed the exterior stairs. The railing wobbled under her hand. The hallway smelled like cooking oil and cigarette smoke. She found Unit 2F and knocked. No answer. She knocked again. Waited. Nothing. A door opened across the hall. An elderly woman peered out. You looking for Tyler? Yes. Do you know where he is? Probably at his daughter's school. Or looking for work. Who's asking? Christine hesitated. I'm from the hospital. I need to speak with him about his termination. The woman's expression hardened. You people already took his job. What more do you want? I want to help. Help? You fired him for saving a little girl's life. Some help. It's complicated. It always is when rich people make mistakes. The woman stepped back and started to close her door. Tyler's a good man. Best neighbor I ever had. He don't deserve what you did to him. The door clicked shut. Christine stood in the hallway feeling smaller than she had in 20 years. She'd built a fortune on being smarter and tougher than everyone else. She climbed over competitors and critics and people who said a woman couldn't run a tech company. She'd faced down hostile boards and activist investors and personal tragedies that would have broken most people. But she'd never felt as low as she did standing in this hallway. She went back to her car and told her driver to wait. Then she called the PI. I need you to find Tyler Hammond. Now. I don't care where he is or what he's doing. Find him and call me. 2 hours later, her phone rang. Mrs. Waverly, your subject is at City Hospital emergency room. His daughter was brought in by ambulance 40 minutes ago. Christine's blood went cold. What happened? Unknown. The girl's stable. Hammond's with her now. Christine ended the call and told her driver to go. She called ahead to City Hospital. Used her name and her money to get information no parent should be able to access about someone else's child. Lily Hammond, age 6, brought in with severe dehydration and malnutrition, running a fever of 103, currently receiving 4 fluids. Father refusing to leave her side despite being informed he needed to complete intake paperwork. Christine arrived at the hospital and found Tyler in the pediatric emergency room. He sat next to a bed where a tiny girl with dark hair lay attached to monitors and tubes. Tyler held her hand. His face was gray with exhaustion. He hadn't shaved in days. His clothes looked slept in. He didn't notice Christine until she was standing right next to him. Mr. Hammond. Tyler looked up. For a moment he didn't seem to recognize her. Then his expression shifted. Confusion. Then anger. Then something that looked like defeat. What are you doing here? I came to apologize. Your apology won't pay for this. Tyler gestured at the monitors, the medical equipment. She got sick because I couldn't afford to keep the heat on. She got sick because we ran out of food and I was too proud to go to a food bank. She got sick because I lost my job saving your daughter's life and now I can't take care of my own. His voice broke on the last word. Christine looked at the little girl in the bed. She was asleep, her face flushed with fever, her small chest rising and falling under a thin hospital blanket. She looked like Emma. Same age, same fragile innocence. Different circumstances. Emma had the best medical care money could buy. Lily Hammond had a father who was drowning and couldn't save her. I watched the security footage, Christine said quietly. All of it. From 3 different angles. I know what really happened. You saved Emma's life. The cardiac event wasn't your fault. You did everything right. Tell that to the police. Tell that to the hospital that fired me. Tell that to my daughter who's lying here because I can't afford to be her father anymore. I'm going to fix this. Tyler laughed. It was a bitter, broken sound. You can't fix this. You can't undo what you did. I'm unemployable now. Everyone in the medical community thinks I'm a predator. The school is threatening to call child services. My landlord is starting eviction proceedings. My car is dying, and my daughter is in the hospital because I failed her. How much do you owe? What? How much do you owe? Medical bills, rent, everything. Tyler stared at her. Why does that matter? Because I'm going to pay it. All of it. I don't want your charity. It's not charity. It's restitution. I ruined your life. I'm going to fix it. You can't buy your way out of this. Watch me. Tyler stood up. He was taller than Christine, broader, but he looked like he might collapse at any moment. I don't want your money. I want my job back. I want my reputation back. I want people to stop looking at me like I'm a criminal. Can you do that? Christine met his eyes. Yes. How? I'm going to hold a press conference. I'm going to tell everyone what really happened. I'm going to make sure the hospital reinstates you with back pay and a formal apology. I'm going to clear your name. And what do you want in return? The question caught Christine off guard. Nothing. People like you always want something. I want to sleep at night without seeing your face when they dragged you away. I want to look at my daughter without remembering that you saved her while I destroyed you. I want to do something right for once instead of using my money and power to crush everyone who gets in my way. Tyler sat back down. He was crying now, silent tears that he didn't bother to wipe away. I can't do this anymore. I can't keep fighting. I'm so tired. Christine pulled up a chair. She sat next to this man she'd wronged, this stranger who'd saved her daughter, and she did something she hadn't done in years. She told the truth. When Emma got sick, I threw money at the problem. The best doctors, the best treatments. I bought an entire hospital wing because I thought money could cure her. But it didn't. Money can't fix a failing heart. Money can't make her healthy. And when she almost died, when that monitor went flat, I realized how powerless I really am. She looked at Lily. You saved Emma with your bare hands and a certification you probably got for free. No money, no power, just skill and courage. And I repaid you by taking everything you had left. Why are you telling me this? Because I need you to let me help. Not because I'm rich. Not because I'm guilty. Because your daughter deserves better. And because I can actually do something about it. Tyler wiped his eyes. The bill for this visit is going to be thousands. I have $37 in my bank account. I'll take care of it. The rent is due tomorrow. I'm $800 short. I'll take care of it. There's a parent conference next week where they are probably going to recommend taking Lily away from me. They won't. Not after I'm done. Tyler looked at Christine for a long moment. She could see him calculating, weighing his options. Pride versus survival. Anger versus desperation. Finally, he nodded. Okay, but I pay you back. Every cent. I don't care if it takes the rest of my life. We'll negotiate terms later. Right now, let's focus on getting your daughter healthy. Christine pulled out her phone and made calls. She paid Lily's hospital bill on the spot. She called Tyler's landlord and paid 3 months' rent in advance. She called a pediatric specialist and had them consult on Lily's case. She called her lawyer and had them draft a letter to the hospital demanding Tyler's reinstatement. Tyler watched her work with an expression somewhere between disbelief and exhaustion. When she finished, she turned to him. I'm going to leave my number. Call me if you need anything. I mean it. Anything. Why are you doing this? Because I can. And because I should have done it 3 days ago. Christine left the hospital and went home to her daughter. Emma was awake, sitting up in bed, coloring in a book. When she saw her mother, she smiled. Mommy, can I tell you something? Of course, sweetheart. That man who helped me when I couldn't breathe? He was nice. He talked to me while we waited for the doctor. He told me I was brave. Christine's throat tightened. He was very nice. And very brave. Why did the guards take him away? Because Mommy made a mistake. A very big mistake. Are you going to fix it? Yes, baby. I'm going to fix it. Emma went back to her coloring. Christine sat on the edge of the bed and watched her daughter, healthy and alive because Tyler Hammond had known what to do when it mattered most. She thought about Lily Hammond lying in a hospital bed because Christine had been too scared and too proud to see the truth. She'd spent her whole life building walls, protecting herself, protecting Emma, using money and power as shields against a world that had taken too much from her already. Emma's father had died before she was born. Heart attack at 35. Christine had been pregnant and alone and terrified. She'd built her company from nothing because she had to, because there was no one else to rely on. And somewhere along the way, she'd forgotten that not everyone had the luxury of walls and shields and money to fix problems. Tyler Hammond had none of those things. He had love and desperation and a daughter who needed him. And Christine had almost taken that last thing away. She wouldn't make that mistake again. Tomorrow, she'd start the real work. Clearing his name, restoring his job, making sure everyone knew the truth. But tonight, she sat with her daughter and thought about the man who'd saved 2 lives. Emma's life with his hands, and his own daughter's life with his stubborn refusal to give up even when everything was lost. Christine Waverly had built an empire. But Tyler Hammond had something she'd never had. Courage in the face of absolute powerlessness. And she was going to make damn sure the world recognized it. Tyler woke up in a hospital chair with his neck aching and Lily's small hand gripping his. Morning light filtered through the window. Someone had covered him with a blanket at some point during the night. The nurse checking Lily's vitals smiled at him. She's doing much better. Fever's down. We'll probably discharge her this afternoon. Tyler nodded, his throat too tight to speak. Lily was going to be okay. That was all that mattered. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Christine Waverly. I've paid your hospital bills and your rent. My lawyer is drafting the reinstatement letter. We need to talk today about next steps. My driver will pick you up at 2 p.m. Tyler stayed at the message. Yesterday felt like a fever dream. Christine Waverly sitting next to him in this hospital. Christine Waverly making calls. Christine Waverly promising to fix everything. He didn't believe it would work. People like her made promises all the time. But people like him knew better than to trust them. Still, when the black town car pulled up to the hospital entrance at 2 p.m., Tyler got in. Lily was stable, resting comfortably with Mrs. Patterson, who'd insisted on staying with her. Tyler had 3 hours before visiting hours ended. The driver took him across the city to a building Tyler had only ever seen from a distance. Waverly Tech headquarters. 70 stories of glass and steel. The lobby alone was bigger than Tyler's entire apartment. Security waved him through. An assistant met him at the elevator and took him up to the 60th floor. Christine's office was at the end of a long hallway. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Furniture that probably cost more than Tyler made in a year. And Christine, standing by the window in a gray suit, looking like she belonged in a magazine. Mr. Hammond, thank you for coming. You paid my bills. I figured I owed you a conversation. Christine gestured to a chair. Please, sit. Can I get you anything? Coffee? Water? I'm fine. Tyler's Saturday. The chair was leather, impossibly comfortable. He felt out of place in his wrinkled clothes and 2-day stubble. But Christine didn't seem to notice. She sat across from him and pulled out a folder. I've been busy. The hospital's board of directors is meeting tomorrow morning. I'm presenting evidence that your termination was unjust. I've also prepared a statement for the press explaining what really happened with Emma. And I've contacted the police to withdraw my complaint. Just like that. I own 40% of that hospital. When I make a recommendation, people listen. Tyler leaned back. So what's the catch? No catch. I'm fixing my mistake. People don't do that. Especially not people like you. People like me. Rich people. Powerful people. You don't fix mistakes. You bury them. Christine's expression hardened. You're right. That's usually what I do. But not this time. Why not? Because I have a daughter too. And if our situations were reversed, if you had the power and I was the one drowning, I'd want you to help her. Wouldn't you want me to help Lily? Tyler didn't answer. He couldn't. Because she was right. Christine opened the folder. I need you to look at this. It's a proposal. Tyler took the papers. He read slowly. Job reinstatement at Memorial Children's Hospital. Not as a janitor, as a patient care coordinator. $45,000 a year. Full benefits. Health insurance. Retirement. 3 weeks vacation. This is a real job. You have EMT training. You're CPR certified. You're clearly capable of handling medical emergencies. The hospital needs someone in patient care who actually cares about patients. That's you. I don't have a degree. You have experience. You have heart. That's more valuable. Tyler looked at the number again. 45,000. That was more than 3 times what he'd been making. That was enough to get a better apartment. To buy Lily new clothes and sign her up for the activities her friends did. To start paying down the medical debt. To breathe. What's the catch? He asked again. No catch. You do the job. You do it well. And you let me sleep at night knowing I didn't completely ruin your life. Tyler set the papers down. The hospital board won't approve this. They fired me. They think I'm dangerous. The hospital board will approve it or I'll pull my funding. All of it. That cardiac wing Emma's named after? Gone. The research grants? Gone. The new MRI machines I bought last year? I'll have them moved to a different hospital. You'd blackmail them. I'd leverage my position to correct an injustice. Call it what you want. Tyler stood up and walked to the window. The city spread out below. From up here, everything looked small, manageable. He thought about what it must be like to have this kind of power, to look down on the world and know you could change it with a phone call. I don't understand you, he said. You could have just written me a check and walked away. Why go to all this trouble? Christine joined him at the window. Because a check wouldn't fix the real damage. Your reputation, your career, your ability to take care of Lily without charity. You need more than money. You need vindication. And you need forgiveness. Maybe, or maybe I just need to do the right thing for once without calculating the cost. They stood in silence. Tyler thought about Ashley, about the promises he'd made, about Lily lying in that hospital bed yesterday, sick because he couldn't afford to keep her safe. If I take this job, I pay you back. For the rent, for the hospital bills, for everything. Agreed. We'll set up a payment plan. Interest-free. And I want a written apology from the hospital. Public. Not just a quiet reinstatement. Done. And I want to know why. Why you're really doing this. Christine was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was soft. Because when Emma's father died, I was pregnant and alone and terrified. I built this company because I had to survive. I built it by being harder and colder than everyone else. I made a fortune by never showing weakness. She turned to face Tyler. And then Emma got sick. And all my money and power couldn't save her. That monitor went flat, and I realized I'd spent 10 years building walls so high I'd forgotten what it was like to be human. To need help. To rely on someone else. So this is about you feeling guilty. This is about recognizing that I'm not different from you. I have more money. I have more power. But I'm just as scared. Just as desperate to protect my child. Just as capable of making mistakes. Christine's eyes were bright with unshed tears. You saved Emma when I couldn't. And I tried to destroy you for it because I was too proud to say thank you. I'm trying to be better. That's all. Tyler believed her. Against his better judgment. Against every instinct that said rich people were never sincere, he believed her. Okay, he said, I'll take the job. But I have conditions. Name them. I want the hospital to create a fund for employees in crisis. Medical emergencies. Family issues. So nobody else has to choose between their kid and their job. Agreed. I'll match whatever the hospital contributes. And I want protection. If they try to fire me again for some made-up reason, I want a contract that says they have to prove cause. Done. My lawyers will draft it. And I want you to tell Emma the truth. That I didn't hurt her. That I helped her. Because someday she's going to be old enough to Google my name, and I don't want her to think I'm a monster. Christine nodded. I'll tell her tonight. They shook hands. Tyler's grip was rough from years of manual labor. Christine's was firm and cool. Two people from different worlds, connected by a moment of crisis and a shared determination to make things right. The board meeting is tomorrow at 9 a.m., Christine said. I want you there. Why? Because they need to hear from you directly. They need to see that you're not what I accused you of being. Tyler's stomach clenched. I'm not good at public speaking. You don't have to be eloquent. You just have to tell the truth. That night, Tyler returned to the hospital. Lily was awake, eating Jell-O and watching cartoons. When she saw him, she smiled. Daddy, the nurse said I can go home tomorrow. That's right, baby. Are we going to have heat at home? The question broke Tyler's heart. Yes, we're going to have heat. And food. And everything you need. I promise. How? Someone helped us. Someone very kind. Lily considered this. Like how you helped that little girl at your work. Sort of like that. Good. You should get help when you help people. That's fair. Tyler hugged his daughter and thought about fairness. About how rare it was in the real world. about how lucky he was that Christine Waverly had decided to be better than she had to be. But Tyler didn't know that the battle was just beginning. The next morning, Tyler put on his only suit. It was 6 years old and slightly too big because he'd lost weight from stress and irregular meals. He shaved. He tried to make himself look like someone who belonged in a hospital board meeting. Christine picked him up personally. She drove a car that Tyler couldn't identify but knew cost more than his yearly salary. They didn't talk much on the drive. Tyler was too nervous. Christine seemed focused. The board meeting was in a conference room that overlooked the city. 12 people sat around a massive table. Hospital administrators, doctors, the chairman of the board. All of them looked at Tyler like he was something they'd scraped off their shoe. Christine stood at the head of the table. Thank you all for coming. I've called this emergency meeting to address the termination of Tyler Hammond and to propose his reinstatement in a new position. The chairman, a silver-haired man named Whitmore, cleared his throat. Mrs. Waverly, with all due respect, this matter has been settled. Mr. Hammond violated hospital policy. We stand by our decision. Your decision was based on incomplete information and my own panic. I'm here to correct that. Christine presented the security footage. All angles. Time-stamped. Showing exactly what happened. Emma's monitor flatlining. Tyler running into the room. The CPR. Emma breathing again. The cardiac event was caused by a medication interaction, Christine said. Not by anything Mr. Hammond did. He saved my daughter's life using proper technique, and I repaid him by having him fired. He still violated policy by engaging in patient care without authorization, Whitmore said. Would you prefer he'd followed policy and let Emma die while he searched for a nurse? Of course not. But rules exist for a reason. Rules exist to protect patients. Tyler Hammond protected my daughter. He deserves recognition, not punishment. One of the board members, a doctor Tyler didn't recognize, spoke up. Mrs. Waverly, we understand your gratitude. But Mr. Hammond has a history. The trespassing charge. The questions about his fitness. Tyler clenched his fists under the table. Here it came. The systematic destruction of his character. Christine's voice was ice. His trespassing charge was dismissed. He was trying to get medication for his dying wife. As for his fitness, he's raised a daughter alone for 3 years while working nights and dealing with crushing medical debt. I'd say that demonstrates extraordinary fitness. We have concerns about putting someone with his background in a patient care role. Then fire me too. Christine set her phone on the table. Because I'm the one who caused this entire situation. I panicked. I accused an innocent man. I pressured you to terminate him. If he's unfit, what does that make me? The room went silent. Whitmore shifted in his seat. Mrs. Waverly, that's not necessary. Isn't it? You're willing to destroy Tyler Hammond's career to protect the hospital from liability. But I'm the one who created the liability. Either we take responsibility for our mistakes, or we're all cowards. Tyler watched Christine face down the board. He'd never seen anything like it. She wasn't backing down. Wasn't hedging. She was willing to burn her own reputation to save his. I'm proposing a new position, Christine continued. Patient care coordinator. Tyler Hammond will work with families in crisis. He'll ensure that no one falls through the cracks the way he almost did. He'll be the person who notices when someone is struggling, who intervenes before tragedy strikes. We don't have budget for a new position, Whitmore said. I'll fund it personally for the first 3 years. After that, if the program doesn't prove its value, we'll discuss elimination. But I believe it will, because this hospital needs someone who remembers what it's like to be powerless. The board members exchanged glances. Tyler could see them calculating. The money Christine brought to the hospital, the donations, the prestige, versus their discomfort with admitting they'd made a mistake. Finally, Whitmore sighed. We'll put it to a vote. All in favor of reinstating Tyler Hammond in the proposed position. 7 hands went up. Then 8. Then 9. Motion carries. Whitmore looked at Tyler. Mr. Hammond, you'll start Monday. HR will contact you about paperwork and orientation. Tyler nodded, not trusting his voice. The meeting adjourned. Board members filed out, some avoiding Tyler's eyes, others nodding at him with grudging respect. When the room cleared, only Tyler and Christine remained. Thank you, Tyler said. Don't thank me yet. You still have to do the job. I will. I'll do it well. I know you will. They left the hospital together. In the parking lot, Christine handed Tyler an envelope. What's this? First month's salary. Advance. You need clothes and shoes for Lily and probably 1,000 other things. Consider it a signing bonus. Tyler opened the envelope. Inside was a check for $5,000. This is too much. It's not enough, but it's a start. Tyler looked at this woman who'd saved him, who'd used her power not to crush him but to lift him up, who'd admitted her mistakes in front of people who controlled her business interests. Why? He asked one more time. Really? Christine smiled. It was sad and genuine, because Emma asked me if I was going to fix my mistake, and I told her yes. I can't break promises to my daughter. Neither can I. Then we understand each other. Tyler drove back to the hospital to get Lily. She was dressed and ready, bouncing with excitement about going home. Mrs. Patterson had brought her clean clothes and her favorite stuffed rabbit. Can we get pizza? Lily asked. We can get whatever you want. Really? Really? They stopped at a grocery store on the way home. Tyler filled the cart with food. Real food. Fruits and vegetables and meat and bread. Lily's eyes went wide. Daddy, can we afford this? We can now, baby. Why? Because Daddy got a new job. A better job. Will you be home more? I'll be home every night. Lily threw her arms around his waist. I'm so happy, Daddy. Tyler hugged his daughter in the middle of the grocery store and didn't care who saw him cry. They went home to their apartment. The heat was on. The lights worked. There was food in the refrigerator. For the first time in 3 years, Tyler felt like they might actually be okay. But he didn't know that the story was leaking, that someone on the board was talking to reporters, that by tomorrow morning, the news would be everywhere, and not everyone would see Tyler Hammond as a hero. Some would see him as a threat, a reminder of how easily the system could be wrong, of how privilege protected the guilty and crushed the innocent, and they would push back. The story broke at 6 a.m. Tyler woke to his phone buzzing with notifications. Text messages from numbers he didn't recognize. Emails. Missed calls. He sat up, disoriented, and checked the news. The headline made his stomach drop. Hospital janitor accused of assault vindicated after billionaire intervention. Below it, a photo of Tyler leaving the hospital board meeting with Christine. The article was sympathetic. It detailed his termination, the accusations, and Christine's public reversal. It mentioned Lily. It mentioned Ashley. It painted Tyler as a victim of a broken system. But the comments section was a war zone. Some people defended him, called him a hero, praised Christine for doing the right thing. But others questioned everything. Why had Christine really changed her mind? Was Tyler being paid off? Was this whole thing staged for publicity? And underneath it all, the class resentment simmered. A janitor getting special treatment because a rich woman felt guilty. How many others suffered without billionaire saviors? Tyler's phone rang. Christine, have you seen the news? I'm reading it now. I'm sorry. I thought I could control the narrative. But someone leaked details to the press before I could make an official statement. It's okay. It's not okay. This was supposed to be a clean redemption. Now it's a circus. Tyler closed his eyes. He should have known. Nothing in his life ever went smoothly. What do we do? I'm holding a press conference this afternoon. I want you there. I can't. I'm not good at this. You don't have to say much. Just stand next to me. Let people see you're real. Let them know this isn't a publicity stunt. Tyler thought about Lily, asleep in his bed, about the job he was supposed to start Monday, about the fragile new stability that could collapse if he said the wrong thing. Okay, but I need to drop Lily at school first. I'll send a car. 2 p.m. And Tyler, wear something comfortable. Don't try to dress like something you're not. People need to see the real you. The press conference was held at the hospital. The same hospital where Tyler had been fired 4 days ago. Now he stood on a platform next to Christine Waverly, facing a room full of reporters and cameras. Christine spoke first. She was polished, confident, everything Tyler wasn't. She explained what had happened, showed the security footage, detailed the investigation, took full responsibility for her initial reaction. I was wrong, she said. Her voice filled the room. I was scared for my daughter. I lashed out at the person who saved her life. Tyler Hammond acted with courage and skill. He deserves recognition, not punishment. The hospital has reinstated him in a position where he can continue helping families in crisis. A reporter raised a hand. Mrs. Waverly, some are saying this is damage control. That you're only helping Mr. Hammond because the story became public. They are wrong. I started fixing this before any news broke. I'm holding this conference because I want everyone to know the truth. Tyler Hammond is a good man who was treated unjustly. That ends today. Another reporter. Mr. Hammond, what do you want to say to people who think you're just lucky a rich person took an interest in your case? Tyler stepped to the microphone. His hands shook. He'd never spoken to a crowd like this. Never had cameras pointed at him. His voice came out rough. I am lucky. I won't pretend I'm not. Most people in my situation don't get second chances. They get crushed by the system and nobody notices. He paused, gathering courage. But this shouldn't be about luck. This should be normal. When someone does the right thing, they shouldn't be punished for it. When someone is struggling, they shouldn't have to hope a billionaire notices them. The room was silent. Tyler continued. I'm grateful to Mrs. Waverly for helping me, but I'm angry that I needed help in the first place. I did my job. I saved a little girl's life, and I was fired for it because I didn't have power or money or connections. That's wrong, and it happens every day to people who don't get press conferences. Christine was staring at him. Tyler couldn't read her expression. A reporter called out, What do you want to see change? Everything. I want hospitals to protect workers who do the right thing. I want living wages so parents don't have to choose between rent and food. I want affordable healthcare so people don't go bankrupt because their wife gets cancer. I want a system that values kindness instead of punishing it. That's a big list. I'm a janitor who almost lost everything. I've got nothing left to lose by asking for it. The press conference ended. Tyler walked off the platform feeling like he'd just run a marathon. Christine caught his arm. That was perfect. I probably said too much. You said exactly what needed to be said. They left through a side exit. In the hallway, a nurse stopped them. Tyler recognized her. She'd been the one in Emma's room. The one who'd been at the supply closet when everything happened. Mr. Hammond, I need to apologize. I should have spoken up. I should have told them you saved that little girl. But I was scared of losing my job. Tyler looked at this woman who'd stayed silent while he was destroyed. He wanted to be angry, but he understood. Fear made people do nothing. Fear was easier than courage. It's okay, he said. I get it. It's not okay. But thank you. She walked away. Christine watched her go. That took courage. Apologizing. She didn't speak up when it mattered. Most people don't. That's why what you did was extraordinary. They went back to Christine's office. Tyler sank into one of the leather chairs, exhausted. Christine poured 2 glasses of water and handed him one. The hospital wants you to start orientation Monday. But if you need more time, I can arrange it. No, I want to start. I need to start. There's something else. Christine pulled out another folder. I've set up a fund. The Employee Crisis Assistance Program. Any hospital worker facing financial emergency can apply for help. Grants, not loans. No strings attached. Tyler opened the folder. The program details were comprehensive. Medical bills, childcare, housing, transportation. Everything that had crushed him was now covered. This is incredible. It's named after your wife. The Ashley Hammond Crisis Fund. Tyler's vision blurred. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. Her death shouldn't be meaningless. This way, her name helps other families. Tyler couldn't speak. He just nodded. Christine stood. There's one more thing. I want you to meet Emma. Properly. She's been asking about you. They went to the pediatric wing. Emma was in a different room now, sitting up in bed with coloring books spread around her. When she saw her mother, she smiled. When she saw Tyler, her eyes went wide. You're the man who helped me. Tyler knelt next to her bed. That's right. My name is Tyler. Mommy said you saved my life. You stopped breathing. I knew what to do. That's all. Thank you. Emma's voice was small but sincere. I'm sorry the guards took you away. That was scary. It's okay. Everything worked out. Mommy says you have a daughter too. I do. Her name is Lily. She's 6, like you. Can she come play with me sometime? Tyler glanced at Christine. She nodded. Maybe sometime. When you're feeling better. They talked for a few more minutes. Emma told Tyler about her coloring books and her favorite TV shows. Tyler listened and answered and felt something in his chest unwind. This was why he'd acted. This little girl. This life. It had been worth it. When they left, Christine walked him to his car. Thank you for coming. I know today was hard. It was necessary. Monday morning, 9 a.m. HR will get you set up. And Tyler, you're going to be amazing at this job. How do you know? Because you understand what it's like to need help. That makes you perfect for helping others. Tyler drove home. The sun was setting. The city looked different somehow. Less hostile. Less crushing. He stopped at a store and bought flowers. Then he drove to the cemetery. Ashley's grave was in the back corner, under a maple tree. The headstone was simple. Ashley Hammond, beloved wife and mother. Tyler hadn't been able to afford anything elaborate. He set the flowers down and sat on the grass. I did it, Ash. I kept my promise. Lily's safe. We have a home. We have food and heat and everything she needs. I know you were worried. I know you died thinking I couldn't handle this alone. But I did. We're going to be okay. The wind rustled the tree branches. Tyler imagined it was Ashley's way of answering. He stayed until dark. Then he went home to Lily. She was waiting on the couch, homework spread around her. When she saw him, she jumped up. Daddy, Mrs. Patterson said you were on TV. I was. What for? I helped someone, and I told people about it. Are you famous now? Tyler laughed. No, baby. I'm not famous. I'm just your dad. Good. I don't want to share you. They made dinner together. Spaghetti with Real sauce and garlic bread. They ate at the kitchen table and talked about school and friends and the field trip Lily could finally go on. After dinner, Tyler helped with homework. Then bath time. Then stories. When Lily was asleep, Tyler sat in the living room with his laptop. He searched his own name and found hundreds of articles. Most were positive. Some weren't. But they all agreed on one thing. Tyler Hammond had done the right thing. His phone buzzed. A text from Christine. How are you holding up? Tyler typed back. Tired, but good. Get some rest. Big day Monday. Tyler put his phone away. He walked through the apartment, checking locks and lights. In Lily's room, he stood watching her sleep. She looked like Ashley. The same dark hair, the same peaceful expression. We're going to be okay, Tyler whispered. 6 months later, Tyler stood in the hospital auditorium, wearing a suit that actually fit. The room was packed. Hospital staff, patients, families. Christine sat in the front row with Emma, who was healthier now. Her heart condition stabilized with new medication. The hospital CEO was at the podium. I'm pleased to announce that the Ashley Hammond Crisis Fund has helped over 200 families in its first 6 months. Thanks to the generosity of Christine Waverly and the dedication of our patient care coordinator, Tyler Hammond, we've prevented evictions, covered medical bills, and provided childcare assistance to dozens of employees. Applause filled the room. We're also announcing a policy change. Effective immediately, all hospital employees are required to complete crisis intervention training. If an employee witnesses an emergency and provides aid, they will be protected, not punished. We're calling it the Good Samaritan Protocol. More applause. Tyler stepped to the podium. Public speaking was still terrifying, but he'd gotten better at it. 6 months ago, I thought my life was over. I'd lost my job. I couldn't take care of my daughter. I felt invisible and powerless. He paused, but I wasn't powerless. I had skills. I had courage. And when it mattered most, I used them to save a life. He looked at Emma. She waved. What happened to me was wrong, but it led to something good. This program, these policy changes, the recognition that workers deserve protection when they do the right thing. I'm grateful to Christine Waverly for giving me a second chance. But more than that, I'm grateful for everyone who spoke up, who shared their own stories, who demanded better. The speech continued. Tyler talked about the families he'd helped, the mother who'd been about to lose her apartment, the father dealing with a sick child and no insurance, the nurse drowning in student loans, Each story was a reminder that poverty wasn't a moral failing. It was a systemic problem. When he finished, the applause was deafening. After the ceremony, Tyler found Christine in the hallway. Good speech. I'm still nervous every time. That's what makes you good at it. You care. Emma ran up and hugged Tyler's legs. Mr. Tyler, can Lily come to my birthday party? I think we can arrange that. Christine smiled. It's next month. Pool party at our house. Lily's invited. You're invited. Mrs. Patterson is invited if she wants to come. That's generous. It's what friends do. Tyler thought about that word. Friends. 6 months ago, Christine Waverly had been the person who destroyed his life. Now she was the person who'd rebuilt it. More than that, she'd become someone he trusted. Someone who showed up. Someone who kept her promises. Lily would love that, Tyler said. Emma ran off to find her mother's assistant. Christine watched her go, her expression soft. She's doing so well, Tyler said. Thanks to you. If you hadn't been there that day, we wouldn't be planning birthday parties. If you hadn't been there afterward, I'd still be drowning. They stood in comfortable silence. Two people who'd found their way through crisis to something better. I have to ask, Christine said. Are you happy? With the job, the apartment, everything? Tyler considered. I'm not drowning anymore. That's a start. But are you happy? I'm getting there. Lily's thriving. We're stable. I'm helping people. I feel like I matter again. That's more than I thought I'd have. You always mattered. The system just made you feel like you didn't. The system's still broken. Then we keep fixing it. One family at a time. Tyler nodded. One family at a time. He left the hospital that evening feeling lighter than he had in years. The check engine light in his car had been fixed. Not because he'd paid for it, but because one of the mechanics at the hospital had done it for free after hearing his story. People were kind when you gave them the chance to be. At home, Lily was doing homework at the kitchen table. They'd moved to a better apartment 2 months ago. 3 bedrooms. Heat that worked. A neighborhood with a park. Lily had friends now. Playdates. Birthday parties to attend. The normal childhood Tyler had been terrified he couldn't provide. How was your day, Daddy? Good, baby. How was yours? I got an A on my spelling test. That's my girl. They made dinner together, talked and laughed. After Lily went to bed, Tyler sat at his laptop and worked on the program reports. He was good at this job. Great at it, according to his supervisor. He understood what families needed because he needed it himself. His phone buzzed. A message from a number he didn't recognize. Mr. Hammond, this is Janet from the billing department. My husband lost his job, and we're about to lose our apartment. Can the fund help us? Tyler typed back immediately. Come to my office tomorrow morning. We'll figure it out. Thank you. You don't know what this means. Tyler did know. He knew exactly what it meant. It meant not drowning. It meant hope. It meant someone seeing you when you felt invisible. He worked for another hour, answering emails and reviewing applications. When he finally closed the laptop, it was past midnight. But he wasn't tired. He was energized. Tyler walked to the window and looked out at the city. Lights spread to the horizon. Each light was a person, a family, a story. Some were drowning. Some were thriving. Most were somewhere in between, just trying to survive. Tyler Hammond had almost drowned. He'd been pulled under by medical debt and poverty in a system that crushed people who couldn't fight back. But someone had thrown him a lifeline, and now he spent every day throwing lifelines to others. It wasn't enough to fix the whole system, but it was something, and something was better than nothing. Tyler thought about Ashley, about the promises he'd made at her funeral. He'd kept them. Lily was safe, happy, thriving, and Tyler had found purpose again, not just surviving, living. Helping. Mattering. He whispered to the empty room. We did it, Ash. We're okay. The apartment was quiet. Lily breathed softly in her room. The refrigerator hummed. The heat clicked on. All the sounds of a stable life. Tyler smiled. Tomorrow he'd help more families. Next week, Emma's birthday party. Next month, new programs to launch. The work never ended. But now, finally, Tyler had the strength to do it. He walked to Lily's room and stood in the doorway. She was sprawled across her bed, clutching her stuffed rabbit. 6 years old and fearless. She didn't remember the worst days. The hunger, the cold, the fear. Tyler had protected her from most of it, and now she'd never have to experience it again. Tyler closed her door gently and went to his own room. He lay down in a real bed with clean sheets and a comforter that kept him warm. For the first time in 3 years, he fell asleep without worrying about tomorrow. Because tomorrow was going to be okay. And so was the day after that. And the day after that. Tyler Hammond had learned something important. Kindness mattered. Courage mattered. And sometimes, against all odds, doing the right thing actually worked out. Not because the system was fair, but because people like Christine Waverly existed. People who used their power to lift others up instead of pushing them down. And because people like Tyler Hammond existed. People who refused to give up even when everything seemed lost. People who saved lives not because they expected rewards, but because it was the right thing to do. The city slept, and in an apartment in a decent neighborhood, a single father and his daughter slept too. Safe, warm, together. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. There would still be struggles, bills to pay, problems to solve. But the crushing weight was gone. The desperation was gone. The fear that everything might fall apart at any moment was gone. Tyler Hammond had survived, and now he was helping others survive too. That was enough. That was everything.